And to the Americas now, Colombia's president has condemned Washington's military buildup in the Caribbean and its lethal strikes in the region. Now, speaking to U.S. media, Gustavo Petro denounced Donald Trump as a barbarian.
He wants to frighten us. Fear is not the same as the facts. He is a barbarian, but anyone can change. They are poor boatmen. They know how to drive a boat. They are hired in their poverty by the gangsters. But gangsters don't sit on the boats.
Now, this comes after Colombia cut intelligence sharing with Washington over the Caribbean strikes. Since early September, U.S. forces have conducted multiple attacks in the region, resulting in over 70 deaths. Now, the Pentagon claims that it only targets drug smuggling vessels allegedly linked to Venezuela. But Washington says that the world's largest aircraft carrier has now positioned to the region. In response, Venezuela has deployed 200,000 troops on high alert. And this all comes amid a new scandal erupting over the U.S. campaign in Latin America. Latest reports have been showing this image supposedly taken in the White House back in October. Here you can see a U.S. Deputy Chief of Staff holding an AI-generated picture depicting the Colombian and Venezuelan presidents wearing U.S. prisoners' uniforms. And that prompted an angry reaction from Bogota.
The issue here is to find out why, on the official White House website, they are portraying me as if I were a prisoner in a U.S. jail. This is a brutal disrespect to the people who elected me and to the Colombian nation and its history.
Now let's cross now live to former Venezuelan diplomat and the editor of the Orinoco Tribune, Jesus Rodriguez-Espinoza. I'm glad to have you join me right now, Jesus. So what do you make of the Colombian president's reaction to the U.S. military operation in the Caribbean?
It's the normal reaction of any head of a state. In Venezuela, we are used to that kind of propaganda and media, operations coming from the White House, but it's something new for Colombia. And I believe that President Petro did what a head of state should do. He recalled the ambassador, and he basically asked for the U.S. ambassador to go back to Washington in order to clarify the incident, because you cannot put these photos out there, especially if you hang them in the White House, website.
Right now, the Pentagon has reportedly presented Trump with plans for potential operations against Venezuela, including strikes on ground targets. What do you think of this move?
I believe that we all, from Venezuela, we always having respect for the trajectory and the history of President Petro. He has been trying, he represents the first progressive, Bolivarian-minded president that Colombia has, and his reaction towards this illegal, the United Nations already have labeled this U.S. military operation as extrajudicial killings, and that this operation is creating tension all over the region. There are cities nationals from Trinidad, from Venezuela, from Colombia, and even some survivors from Ecuador already being executed by the U.S. military. So the reaction of President Petro is a legitimate reaction that should be in the heads of all head of the state in the region, but we know that some of them are just scared of U.S. Attacks and reactions, and I believe that is extraordinary that President Petro took the risk and had the courage to step up and stand up and question the way he has been questioning these attacks. Actually, Colombian people also has been killed in these attacks, and they also had a survivor in one of these attacks. So the people of Colombia has also been affected by this illegal operation. It's absolutely legitimate to have war on drugs, anti-narcotic operations, but another thing is killing without due process people out of the blues, allegedly, calling them narco-trafficking without providing proofs. So the reaction of Petro is amazing, and one have to respect that.
Very spot on there. Now, what other factors may be at play in the U.S. actions towards Venezuela besides the drug trafficking allegations?
Yes, I mean, we have been saying in August, when this whole craziness began, that this operation is a regime change operation. Actually, the announcement made by the New York Times in August about this secret directive signed by President Trump to deploy to organize this deployment in the Caribbean happened like a few hours after the U.S. Department of Justice raised the bounty on President Maduro from $25 million to $50 million. And the dream of the right-wingers in Venezuela and the anti-communists and right-wingers in the U.S. is to raise that bounty to $100 million because that's the amount of money that mercenary organizations like the one led by Eric Prince, for example, have called for in order to launch a mercenary operation against Venezuela. So everything looks very clearly like a regime change operation, and the military build-up that we have seen in recent weeks have no precedent. People compare it to the level of military deployment when the invasion of Panama happened in '89. But some people actually compare it to even previous. I mean, I have not seen in my life a military deployment like the one that we have seen in recent weeks in fronts of the water of Venezuela. We are talking about 50,000 troops.
All right, we have to leave it here now. Of course, we keep an eye on what is going on there. Jesus Rodriguez-Espinoza, former Venezuelan diplomat and Orinoco Tribune's editor, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.